Hello, it's a pleasure to have you join us on the news on NTA International, and we are broadcasting live in Abuja. I am Jumma Yusuf. First, the headlines. Nigerian delegations spearhead major reforms in African Parliamentary Union. Minister of Information and Culture maintains that border closure is not only to tackle illicit trade and curb smuggling, but to strengthen Nigeria's economy. Senate directs National Council on Education to review the nation's educational curricula to reflect current realities. We begin with the presidency, as President Muhammadu Buhari has strongly condemned the ongoing violence in the Boki local government area of Cross River State, which has in the past 24 hours led to yet to be a certain number of deaths and arson attacks. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President, Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, said so far there have been claims and counterclaims as who restarted the killings and arson between the neighboring communities of Sandop community and the Boji community. While the origin of the mayhem is still unclear, President Buhari notes that no dispute or grievances is worth the violent snatching of another person's life, adding that Nigerians must learn to live peacefully with each other and seek less brutish means of resolving conflicts. He urged the Cross River State government and the Boki local government authorities to immediately look into the crisis and take action to ensure that this unfortunate situation is resolved both in the short and long term. And in South Sudan, the Nigerian delegation to the 42nd Parliamentary Union in Djibouti is spearheading a major reform on the union. Ignatius Uko reports that these include the establishment of a youth committee in the Parliamentary Union.
Less than 24 hours after the African Parliamentary Union resolved to push for more youth and women involvement in African affairs, the Nigerian delegation to the 42nd Conference, led by Chief Whip of the Senate, Orji Uzo Kalu, convened a sideline meeting of the 5 major donors to the Union. The meeting, tagged G5, resolved to converse for the establishment of a youth committee in African Parliamentary Union for the first time.
Among these discussions were how to enhance the role of youth by creating a specialized committee.
And we are looking at how we can be able to bring young people tomorrow to be responsible leaders. Today, we have that executive committee, or the proposal has now come on board.
We organize them to make sure that Nigeria is involved. Because I found out that Nigeria is not a stream of place.
The G5 is also conversing for strategic positions for the major financial donors like Nigeria, especially with the vibrancy of the Nigerian delegation as described by the Vice Chairman of the African Union Executive Committee.
Happy to see an enthusiastic delegation representing a sister country and a respected country like Nigeria.
We are just being good ambassadors. I thank President of the Senate and the leadership of the Senate for giving us this opportunity of representing Nigeria, and we will do it very well in the next 4 years.
The Union had already established other vital committees, including that of Women Affairs. From Djibouti in East Africa, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Still staying with the 42nd Conference of the African Parliamentary Union, still ongoing in Djibouti, the Parliamentary Union at its plenary implored African leaders to give more attention to the involvement of youth and women in the maintenance of peace and order. Ignatius Unko reports from the East African country.
Regional integration and overall development of Africa has been the core themes at various African summits. At this 42nd session of the African Parliamentary Union in Djibouti, legislators from across 40 countries of the continent have gathered with renewed energy, vigor for the development of the continent as a whole, and more inclusion of all segments of the African society. The good number of women was quite explanatory. The 2 themes of the meeting, contribution of young people to democracy, peace and security, and the employment of women and youth, were strategic.
We have seen a lot of segregation has been taken against women. So I believe it's payback time to give and empower youth to take their role in their countries.
I think it's a partnership between the elders and the youth. We need to do a lot more to create a better environment where youth will be participants.
In any society, youth has to be very, very active. Now, why is China thriving? China is thriving because of their population. But the problem we've had is that we've not used our strength. Our greatest strength is our population. A motion on the urgent need for the union's financial management to be made open to the delegates was moved by the Moroccan and Nigerian delegates.
Let's put it this way, it is legitimate to ask, yet in terms of exercise, the proper timing to exercise these rights has passed.
And then it's very significant to know that from the appropriation of the Union's 2020 budget, it's expected that Nigeria, Morocco, and Nigeria are supposed to be the greatest, the biggest donors out of the 40 member countries. From Djibouti in East Africa, Ignatius, NTA News.
Back home, a renowned Nigerian author, Chinua Achebe, said in one of his books, things fall apart when the center cannot hold. So, when the center is peaceful and no threat to lives and property, there is no doubt that this scenario will spread to all parts of a nation. This was the thinking of participants at a peace-building and conflict resolution campaign organized by the Nigerian Film Corporation in collaboration with the FCT Senatorial District. Adebola Brooks and Sunday reports.
Peaceful coexistence is said to be the much-needed ingredient for speedy development. From all nooks and crannies, representatives of inhabitants of the Federal Capital Territory converged on the center, a sign of their determination to have a peaceful nation. Key players took turns to reignite the consciousness in the people that the cost and consequences of conflicts far outweighs the process of peace building.
There must be a way of continuous meeting between the traditional rulers and the officers of the Nigerian police and the SSS.
Very moody, in fact.
Though not pleased with the cases of kidnapping and other social vices in the territory, the police area commander said all is under control.
We will not relent our effort in ensuring adequate security in FCT and its environments.
The people's culture was also used as a tool for peace and unity. This, the convener, Dr. Chidi Amadwekwe, said his corporation will leverage on.
A picture speaks of 1,000 words. So we in the Nigerian Film Corporation are resolved that we should capture what unites us more through the lenses of the camera.
For the co-convener, Senator Philip Aduda, the issue of peace is the business of all.
And most importantly, make us to punctuate any violent conflict throughout the nooks and crannies of the FCT.
The need for greater synergy between traditional institutions, police and other security agencies formed parts of the communique issued at the end of the campaign. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday, NTA News.
Now to the legislature and other matters, as the Senate has directed the National Council on Education to, as a matter of urgency, review the nation's educational curricula to reflect the current realities brought about by advancement in digital technology. This is part of motion on digital technology and cybercrime moved by Senator Oseni Yakubu from Kogi State. Also adopted during Wednesday's plenary was a motion on the need to pay attention to the plight of border communities in Nigeria and that to investigate the degree of enforcement of abandonment and decommissioning obligations by oil companies operating in the country. National Assembly correspondent Vivian Idepefo reports that 3 reports were laid before the Senate while 4 bills passed at second reading. Details in our subsequent bulletin. Nigerian government had recently closed its land borders in an effort to stem the smuggling of rice and other contraband into the country. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, while featuring on the program Good Morning Nigeria, says the purpose is not only to tackle illicit trade and curb smuggling, but to strengthen the nation's economy. The minister also said border closure are not new in Africa, adding that Nigeria's actions should not raise too much concern among its neighbors.
Revenue being lost on a daily basis, revenue that could be used for infrastructure, can be used for, to employ more people. We're talking about our country's security being endangered. We're talking about by the proliferation of arms and ammunition. We're talking about our youth being destroyed daily by the legal importation of tramadol and all this. And you see, these, I think, are the issues we should address.
The minister also reveals that some of Nigeria's neighbors are not complying with the ECOWAS protocol on transit as it concerns Nigeria.
We are asking these countries to do two simple things. One, respect the ECOWAS protocol on transit goods. Two, the MOs we signed in respect of free movement of goods, state of origin, should be respected. And from that, once those issues are resolved, we can move on.
In a bid to key into President Muhammadu Buhari's backward integration policy and promoting local content patronage, the Nigerian Air Force is partnering the Cross River State government to produce 120,000 uniforms for its officers, airmen and airwomen from the Cross River Garment Factory. This agreement was reached during a one-day working visit by the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, to the state. Paul Abel reports.
The visit of the Chief of Air Staff to Cross River State is not to strategize on air strikes against insurgents, but to look inwards towards solving security challenges in the country through patronizing local garments as uniform requirements for the force. The Cross River State Governor, who commends the President and the Chief of Air Staff for this move, adds that the measure will reduce import-dependent consumption and create more job opportunities for Nigerians.
We came all out from Abuja to make sure that we are able to achieve a clearly defined objective, which is to see we can get this thing done locally.
He understands security is not about throwing bombs. It's also helping to take idle hands off so that they don't choose the path of destruction, they don't choose the evil path. Because once you create an alternative place for people to work, nobody will choose to dare the men with the arms.
The Cross River Garment Factory will also align with Arewa Textiles for cotton production, while some Nigerians in collaboration with the Air Force will be sent to China, India and Bangladesh for training to ensure quality output. The Chief of Air Staff and his entourage also visited the Ayade Industrial Park, where they were taken around the instant noodles, rice seedlings, chicken processing factories in Calabar. Paul Abel.
The Buhari Media Organization has commended the pace at which the federal lawmakers are working on the 2020 budget proposal with a view to passing it into law before the end of 2019. In a statement, the group expressed displeasure at the claim in some quarters challenging the existing cordial relationship between the executive and the legislative arms of government. It explains that only the people with little or no understanding of good governance would describe the relationship between the two arms of government as not cordial. We now return briefly to the legislature as a legislation seeking the allocation of 40% annual budget for capital projects was presented at plenary at the House of Representatives. The bill, sponsored by the Speaker, Femi Bajabiamila, seeking to address the infrastructure deficit in the country, proposes allocation of 40% annual budget for capital projects in the next 10 years. Lawmakers across board, in their contributions during debate, gave overwhelming support to the proposal, which they believe would have multiplier effect of stimulating the economy and employment generation. The bill passed second reading and was referred to House Committee on Finance and Appropriation for further legislative action. Plenary featured first reading of 24 bills, among which is a bill for an act to amend the Nigerian Television Authority Act, sponsored by Olusegun Odebumi. Details of these and more in our subsequent bulletin. You're watching the news on NTA International, reaching you live from Abuja. We'll take a pause now. When we return, more reports. Don't go away.
Today or 4 days when my girls won't come visit me, I need to come go expire.
Oh, my guys, they can't follow me watch this match. I must not fall the hand. Hey,
babe, what's happening now? Sorry to disappoint you, but my subscription don't expire.
The match is not on my GoTV package.
Now your holla be that. I beg, give me your phone. I can show you how you go take do it for my GoTV app for your phone.
Life is so much easier with my GoTV app. Make payments, clear error messages, change your package. You can also check your due dates and keep abreast of your payment history. The new My GoTV app is everything you need in one place. So what are you waiting for? Download My GoTV app now from Google Play or App Store to enjoy the easy life. GoTV. Live it, love it.
Honorable Minister, Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment, Senator Dr. Chris Mwabweze Ngige, cordially invites the general public to the 18th National Productivity Day celebration and conferment of National Productivity Order of Merit, NPOM Award. Theme: Productivity for National Re-engineering, Security and Growth. Date: Thursday, 28 November 2019. Time 9 a.m. Venue: NAV Conference Center and Suites, close to Next Cash and Carry, Kado, Abuja. Special guest of honor: His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, President, Federal Republic of Nigeria. Award lecture: guest speaker, Professor Mike Obadan, Chairman, Goldman Education Academy. Dr. Kashim Ako, Director General, National Productivity Center, Abuja. Announcer.
The NYC 2019 Batch Stream 2 orientation course will commence on Thursday, 20th November 2019 in all NYC orientation camps. Cut-off date for registration, 12 midnight, Friday, 29th November. Swearing-in ceremony, Monday, 2nd December. Closing ceremony, Wednesday, 18th December. Prospective corps members are advised to check the following newspapers for details. The Nation, Wednesday, 27th November. Daily Trust, Thursday, 28th November. The Sun and This Day newspapers, Friday, 29th November. And Leadership newspaper, Monday, 5th December. Prospective corps members are advised to report to the orientation camp indicated on their call-up letters. Signed, Management.
Welcome back. Adequate funding remains a major challenge towards realizing the next level agenda of the federal government. To address this, the Office of the Special Assistant to the President on Policy Development organized a roundtable on enhancing the sources of revenue for government. Olabode Arewa reports. That story will come in later. Presidential Air Fleet Commander Hassan Bala Abubakar was this Wednesday decorated Air Vice Marshal by President Muhammadu Buhari at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
It is indeed a rewarding time for the hard-working and trustworthy Presidential Air Fleet Commander, who earlier in the month was promoted Air Vice Marshal by the Air Force Council. Air Vice Marshal Hassan Abubakar is here being decorated by President Muhammadu Buhari and assisted by wife of the new Air Vice Marshal, Architect Rakia Abubakar. Born on the 11th of September 1970 in Shanodo local government area of Kano State, Air Vice Marshal Abubakar was commissioned to the rank of pilot officer, the Nigerian Air Force, in September 1992 and rose through the ranks to the rank of Air Commodore in 2015 and now an Air Vice Marshal.
Promotions call for greater responsibility, and I want to seize this opportunity to pledge my unflinching loyalty to you, sir. I promise to continue my service to the Nigerian Air Force and the nation with unalloyed dedication and commitment, and I vow to do all that is within my power to defend the territorial integrity of our beloved country, Nigeria.
Hassan Abubakar has held many service appointments and won awards and medals. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
The need for constant dialogue and deliberation among stakeholders in order to enhance the relationship between beneficiaries of Presidential Amnesty Program and the government has been emphasized. The coordinator of Presidential Amnesty Program, Professor Charles Dokubo, said this while addressing beneficiaries of Presidential Amnesty Program at a crucial meeting held in Uyo. Kelvin Samuel reports.
Says the meeting became necessary as it is important to dialogue with stakeholders once in a while on issues concerning the region in a bid to find a lasting solution to their challenges. He charged the Phase 2 members of the program to be of good behavior and to make the best out of the various opportunities provided by the federal government to the people of the Niger Delta region.
This office is to provide that ennobling environment for us in the Niger Delta, so that we can achieve and key into the program. If you don't key into the program and derive benefits from the program, I believe that you have not done well for yourself and for your family.
The leader of Presidential Amnesty Phase 2, Asa Tambo, who spoke on behalf of the group while appreciating the various efforts of the federal government towards ensuring peace and security of the area, assured that his team will continue to be law-abiding while hoping that the federal government will play its part.
So I thank Mr. President for looking into the region, seeing it underdeveloped, seeing it not developed within the time frame of 6 years, and extended the program to this far.
The Presidential Amnesty Program is saddled with the responsibility of disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration of the repentant military back to the society. In Uyo, Kevin Samuel, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed shock and sadness over the death of 13 French soldiers in Mali on Tuesday after a helicopter accident during an operation against terrorists in the country. President Buhari, in a statement while empathizing with the French nation, noted that the incident is of significance to Nigeria because France is a major international partner in the war against terrorism. He lauded France's extensive experience in the war on terror and the assistance to African countries, including Nigeria, to tackle terrorism that poses the greatest security threat to the African affected countries. And for news from the foreign scene, let's join Adebola Brooklyn Sunday.
Hello there, and it's nice that you're joining us on this segment of the news. Voting began in Namibia Wednesday morning in what is described as a tightly contested election that attracted 11 contenders for the country's presidency. 1.3 million people registered to elect the president and members of parliament that will govern the Southern African country for the next 5 years. In another development, a 26-year-old woman has suffered serious injuries after a truck landed on her car in the southern city of Port Elizabeth. Police say the truck driver had parked the vehicle while he picked up his children from a primary school. The woman's car was virtually flattened, leaving her trapped inside for nearly 40 minutes before she was rescued by emergency workers. And the U.S. President Donald Trump says the United States will legally designate Mexican drug cartels as terrorist groups. The move, he says, will enable a wider scope of U.S. action. Mr. Trump also said he has told Mexico that the U.S. is ready to go in and clear out the cartels. But in response, Mexico's foreign minister said his country would not allow violation of any national sovereignty. I am Adebola Brooklyn Sunday. Thanks for your time.
Time now for sports update with Amanze Marcus.